Welcome to the Audiobook Lovin Podcast, discussing all things audiobooks, the narrators that perform them, and the authors that write the stories. Including a special series with narrator Shane East, the Audiobook Lovin Podcast is brought to you by Viviana, Enchantress of Books. Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 11 of the Audiobook Lovin Podcast. Today, Shane and I are catching up, and what seems like forever that we spoke, but it hasn't really been that long ago. Hi, Shane.
Hello, happy 2020.
Yes, happy 2020. So the holidays have come and gone. You had some sandy balls going around over there in England.
Yeah, I don't think you can just throw that out there without.
I know. So well, you just did. You're the one that posted, that one, and I'll make sure to include that tweet there. So you went over abroad back home to the holidays.
Not everyone follows the Twitter conversations though, so I just feel like you need to preface that a little bit.
Yes. So we'll bring some content. So you go over abroad back home to for the holidays, and why don't you tell us where you're at this point when it comes down to that specific topic?
Where I was. So I went back to London. I had to do some work stuff and then see the family. And a friend of mine bought a holiday home. It's kind of, I don't know how to describe it, like a little holiday village, and she's got this little place there, and it's we drove up to it, and I just fucking started laughing because it's called Sandy Balls. Like, that's the name of the place, Sandy Balls. And then what I found out, and I took a picture, what you're talking about, and for anyone who's not on Twitter, is I took a picture of myself in, I think it was snowing or it was raining or something, next to the big sign that says, welcome to Sandy Balls. But apparently it's some kind of two hills that for some reason we're going way back when, medieval times or something. They've been there since, and somehow they're called Sandy Balls. Or just one of those weird Englishisms that they've sort of kept, and now it's sort of their thing. So that's where I was, outside of London, in the little country valleys and all sorts.
Yeah, but it's interesting because here we have, like you said, this is a location that's been around for years, but it's, fast forward society, then we giggle when we see, oh look, he's at 70 balls. Back in the day, it was no big thing, and I think someone else posted like a bunch of different locations with interesting names all over England and in Europe as well that had something with cock in it or balls this, and it's just like, again, the language and it's our society, how we have way too much fun with words sometimes.
Well, I like it when they do there used to be a program and they would go abroad and then they'd find you, something like washing up detergent from like the Philippines or something, and somehow it'd be called TIT, and they're like tit for all your washing needs. Like, there was a program that was specifically used to find these ridiculous commercials in all these foreign countries that had used these words that meant something very different to us. But yeah, to say that I was holidaying at Sandy Balls was still a little strange. Bizarre.
Yeah, we had fun with it though.
I did. I had a great time. It was really nice to be home, actually. Although I got the flu, so that's England just gives you. My friend said that. He said, well, you haven't come back to England unless you've caught the plague before you leave. And I was like, God. I guess that's true. He's like, it's so fucking damp here. So it was lovely. But yeah, I was quite happy. 2 weeks was plenty. Because it didn't snow. There was none of the Christmas lights were up, which was very cute. It was fucking cold. And I mean, although my family didn't think so, that was the weird thing. We were walking around and I realized how we're acclimated very differently now, because I was wrapped in I looked like a Michelin man, that like a snow, like all puffy and everything. My nephews were laughing because they're like, what's wrong with you? It's not that cold. And I was like, it is freezing. It's absolutely freezing. And they're walking around in a sort of like a little jacket and jumper underneath, and that was it. I had about like 7 layers. My sister-in-law walked home from the restaurant because there was only so many of us could fit in the car, and her and my brother were like, oh well, we'll just walk, like we like a walk. And I was like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, she had a skirt on. I was like That's it. I mean, if you're used to it, you're used to it. They thought I was a big pussy, but
Yeah.
they're
Are they?
lovely.
Do they make fun of you? Like saying, "Oh, look at you! You've been all Americanized, Mr. California man, who can't, anything like that." So
Well,
maybe been now for
my
10 years.
nephews did.
Yeah.
Yeah, my nephews just thought it was hilarious. Thought I was such a wimp. Uh, but I was literally frozen to the bone. So I won't be moving back just yet. That's for
Just
sure.
yet. Yeah.
Visits are great.
Yeah. But you get acclimated. I mean, again, you've been here in the States now for 10 years. And how long have you been? Have you always been in California for the 10 years or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've
See?
stayed in New York for months at a time, but I
Mm-hmm.
haven't. But that was not in the winter either.
Oh,
So yeah,
yeah.
I know, and I know their winters. I mean, a friend of mine is English, but has been there 10 years, and a few years back, I think they had a couple of really severe ones because he was like, "Oh my God, I wouldn't. If this was my first year in New York, I would have left." He's like, "It's
Wow.
only because I've been here 10
Mm-hmm.
years and I've established myself." He's like, "If this was it, like I would have gone." So, yeah, I know they can be rough over there too, that time of year.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be going there soon, actually, at the end of February.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So it's still good weather from what I understand as far as February for the north. Um,
February in New York can be fresh but bright. That's
yes.
what the one time I have been there because
Mm-hmm.
but we're going for the Audis, so that's why.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. The
with
Audie.
Miss Blakely, yeah, with Lauren
Mm-hmm.
Blakely. So we'll see, because
Yeah.
yeah, it should be fun. It should be fun. There'll be a big group of us. We're all sort of going check it out, see what happens.
Yeah, because it's on March 3rd.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Is
I
it?
remember,
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. And I remember it because
I
it's
have a
my
ticket.
birthday. So I was like, ooh, gift to self. Go to New York or now.
Yeah, the Audis can be fun as well. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I've been a few times. They can be a good laugh. So
Mm-hmm.
it depends if you're nominated, and I don't think the lists are even out yet. So I don't quite know. They don't release it till quite close, I think, to the dates now. I don't know. They've changed their setup, but yeah. So you kind of just have to commit. Whether who knows what's going to happen, but it'll be fun anyway. Either way, whatever comes of it.
Yeah, because I mean, you guys get together again. I know you guys had a fun time over at the previous award ceremony for the Audis. No, it wasn't the Audis. What
The
was it? The
Sovas,
Silvas. Thank you.
yeah.
And you guys seem to have fun just, you know, hanging out and, catching up physically and being in person. So this is another opportunity for you guys to do that as well. Plus others that didn't go to that event are going to go to this one.
Yeah, that's the main reason we go, really. I think we
Mm-hmm.
just go to have some drinks. I won't say piss up because it sounds bad, but we just go to have a laugh, see each other, congratulate whoever gets nominated and who wins, whatever happens and stuff. And then yeah, and then it's a good old shebang.
That's good. Because so pissed in England and it means to get drunk, right?
Yeah, like if you're pissed, yeah, you're drunk.
You're drunk.
Or
Okay.
a piss up is
Piss,
yeah, just getting drunk,
drinking.
wasted.
Got it.
Mm,
Where here
yeah.
it's because you're upset.
Y-
Because you're
Yeah,
angry, you're pissed off.
we use pissed off as well, but we would
Mm-hmm.
always say pissed off,
Mm,
because if you that that changes the meaning for us anyway.
mm-hmm.
Um, but it's like Fanny means a different thing and all of that stuff.
Oh
There's,
yeah.
there's good ones.
No, I know that all too well. I mean, growing up in my household, it was just the Spanish words because the dialects are so the same word can mean completely opposite things, and in a multi-culture like Miami has all
Mm,
these different cultures combined. And in my household, I had Cuban, Argentinian, Chilean, and so when my dad would say a word that for him was just one of those like a damn equivalent of saying damn, and then I would repeat it. And my mother would get on my case because that's such a foul word, and I'm like, but dad said it was
ha,
okay.
ha. Yeah, depends, right? Doesn't it? Which
Yeah,
culture you're with.
yeah, yeah. And those were one of some of the easier ones. Nothing like there's one word I'm thinking. Oh, so it's in Spanish called bicho, which translates to bug. Like so any kind of bug, a fly, a roach, or anything, just used generally. So it's bicho. But that's Cuban means like that's a bug. In Puerto Rican, it means vagina. So it's just
Oh.
completely, yeah. On who you're talking to, you're gonna be like, oh, where are you from again? So I don't say something offensive.
Well, that's intense. Yeah, because those are very different.
Yeah,
At least with Fanny, one means the bum, one means the front. So it's kind of, you
yeah.
know, They're both similar zone. Bugs and vaginas are very, 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 very different.
Oh yeah, exactly. So it's one of those when I'm, when I hear you talking, you're talking about like going on holiday, I'm going vacation, and like cooking means something different. So it's always interesting, and I just want to make sure about that one. With I thought it was, pissed was being drunk.
Pissed.
So yeah, pissed.
Yeah.
So
Pissed off is when I'm angry.
great,
Always with the off on the end.
got it. And just pissed is when you're drinking.
Yeah. We're getting pissed. That's great.
God, it's another word. People are going to be like, "You're talking to Shane again, aren't you?"
Yeah, I have a habit of rubbing off with my vernacular, my
Yeah.
colloquialisms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My friends use them more now than they used to, I think, or at least they understand it. They don't question everything I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes the conversation go a little smoother. Yeah. But I know people are like, "You're listening or talking to Shane again, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Sorry." Yeah, the bollocks would come out, or bloody hell, or
bollocks. Yeah, I didn't realize bollocks was such a British-ism, but yeah, no one uses that here,
Yeah.
do they?
I think the other day I go, "You're such a wanker," and they just looked at me, and I'm like, "Sorry, asshole."
I think people are starting to know more and more than they used to. I don't know if that's because of globalization or something, but I do think British vernacular colloquialisms have sort of infiltrated more than they used to. But I'm not sure why. Maybe it's Netflix has a lot of
I was
British
just about to say Netflix, because between the more formal Due to the Crown,
yeah,
or some of the other ones like Sex Education and other shows too, and other programs, I think
yes.
that they have them on there, is definitely, you're going, "Oh, what's that word?" And then you're like, "Google, what is that word mean?"
Yeah, because I think didn't you guys used to just get sort of Masterpiece Theatre was about it. And so there was none of the sort of like down to
No,
earth, nitty
no.
gritty British people, and then
Yeah,
maybe odd film here and there.
yeah, we had the little pushcart.
The what?
The little, like, the when because it was, again, period, dramas. So it was one of those more tranquil,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah, Pride and Prejudice and some of the other
Exactly.
things that now we're getting a little bit
Yeah.
more. So yeah, now there's an entire channel.
There's plenty of rough people with rough language in the UK. There's plenty of us. It's not all how do you do, sir. That's what they got. It was interesting. Dear. Anyway,
Mhm.
what's next on the agenda? What were we?
Let's see. We were just, gonna start catching up and stuff. But so someone kind of like we were talking on Twitter and about the awards that Oral Fixation was having, and about how you and Mr. Joarden did not make the short list. And that started a nice little conversation between a lot of other folks and yourself, to the point where, like, "Oh, look, the bromance is starting again." And
yeah, I love him. He
yeah.
completes me. That's my favorite gift that I sent to him. Well, no, I don't even know what is. I mean, obviously, I know what oral fixation is, but I guess they ran a poll or something or they do it each year, do they?
They've been doing it each year. It's just like, the top, like, again, like all these award ceremonies are coming up and coming on to the previous year's books or movies, depending on which award ceremony you're looking at. In this case, they do the audiobooks and so, like, the best, and then they had different categories. So best male narrator was where neither you or Joe got included, which a lot of us were like shocked.
Who was on that list? Obviously, Sebastian York must have been.
Yes, he won. He won.
Yeah.
So Sebastian York was included. Jason Clark was very popular this year. I don't know who the rest of them were. I think Teddy Hamilton was another one.
Oh yeah, I know of him.
Yeah, him.
Interesting. No, I don't. I've never. I think I might have been on a multi thing with him, but I don't know him at all.
Yeah.
But I know it's funny. Well, because I know Jason Clark.
Mm-hmm.
I know Zach Weber.
Yep.
Joe Arden, obviously.
Sebastian.
I know. Yeah, I've spoken to him over a
Mm-hmm.
phone-in session. That's it, really. I don't really know a lot of the. I see other blokes pop up sometimes. I see their names, but was Jason and Zach not on that list either?
No, they both were. So Jason.
There you go.
Yeah, they were there.
Oh, that's good. I'm surprised Joe wasn't. I have to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Not to blow his trumpet, but Silly asshole. No, I am surprised because he's very, very popular. So, I mean, I'm not going to speak about myself, whether you make a list or not, whatever. But yeah, no, I'm surprised he wasn't on there, to be
I think
honest.
a lot of us were surprised that neither one of you were included because the two of you have had a really busy year.
Mm,
And a lot of the books that have been raved about included both of you, whether it was a multicast or you guys doing it as a lead. So that's where we're
mm,
going, huh. So
interesting.
yeah, it was interesting, but it's an award ceremony. Like it's great to just have them for fun. I like just for like shits and giggles. But at the end of the day, it all depends on who's around to cast the vote. So you know, it's people's opinions. So it's just like reviews. You know, um,
Yeah.
it's not for everybody and all that fun stuff. But yeah, but a lot of us were talking. We're like, damn, neither Joe nor Shane.
I know.
Damn.
It's fun. I mean, it's like I think if we weren't as busy as we are, then maybe
True.
we'd be a bit like, oh, well, I'm slipping. But
Yeah.
it's fine. I'm
No,
sure the
yeah, yeah.
people on that list are phenomenal. So
Oh no,
anyway,
no, yeah, for sure. It was just one of those where at the same time we can't give like 10 nominees. I think they were only like they were only wearing like 5 names.
yeah.
So it's just one of
And
those, yeah.
you win some, you lose
You lose
some.
some, yeah.
That's the
Hmm.
way it goes.
Yeah, I love how Joe just like goes in there on the Twitter and it's just saying, hey. And then of course the innuendos of the long list versus not a short list.
Yeah,
Comes into
yeah, yeah.
play.
He knew what he was doing,
Oh,
filthy
he
bastard.
does. Oh yes.
Yeah, he
He's very
he
smart
did,
though.
like start something off for the day. Anyway, well, next year, because yeah, I know there was a comment about me and him should campaign more, which I was like, wow, okay, I have to,
Yeah. No.
we have to campaign for these things.
No.
Maybe we do. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing it wrong.
No, no, no. Seriously, you guys are. I think the performances that you guys do speak for themselves. It's just you know, sometimes you get included in a list. Sometimes people that would vote normally were sleeping. I don't know, different time zones. But like,
Well, yeah.
not a
Well,
big.
who knows? I have a ton of, well, yeah. I mean, if this year's anything to go by, I don't know.
Yeah,
Hopefully I will make some list because Shane is very, very busy.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, I think there were some
very,
comments about there. What you'll always make my list, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
On there
That's,
too. And you didn't make my list for real on the top for 2019. So your name was on that list if that counts for anything.
yeah, I think I
Yeah.
saw that. I think I saw
Hmm.
that. Yeah, there you go. So I'm fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on. Very happy with my lists. Nothing to worry. Nothing to see here, folks.
Yeah, no, for sure. But just that bantering between you and Joe in any kind of conversation, I
Mm.
think it moved from that into the friends characters.
Yeah, so I think was it who said that? Someone said about casting
Yeah.
the Friends characters with narrators or something, or recasting.
Hmm.
It might have been Emma Wilder. I'm not sure if she started that or just was chipping in.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then there was a whole banter back and forth, and he said I should be Gunter, and I said I can be Gunter, and I can be Ross, and I can be Ross's English almost wife, because that's what talent does, Joe Arden. You should get some. And blah blah blah. But I do. It does make me laugh because I think so. There was the odd comment, maybe from people who aren't really in on the joke that are a bit like, "Oh, what's happening? Is this
Hmm.
real?" And other people are like, "Yeah, don't worry about it. Like everyone's having a nice time. It's all fun."
Yeah. Well, they had done a trailer of like using the Friends song of the intro for the show for The Witcher, which is a Netflix show.
Yeah, I've watched it. I
You
liked it.
watched it? Yeah, so
Yeah,
they did that, which was hilarious, to have The Witcher be and use the
with
front intro
friend.
with the names and the stuff. It was funny. So when I saw that, I'm going,
Oh,
"Oh,
I
okay,
see.
cool, yeah." So I think that's kind of maybe because that was kind of floating around a little bit, but
That was the impetus. I'll have to look that up. I don't know. I didn't know
oh,
that
I'll
was.
send you the link. It was funny.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah. So, but yeah, The
So yeah, me
Witcher.
and Joe we're very tight. Our friendship continues to grow in
Hmm.
this love-hate way that it has, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. So the other thing that someone had mentioned on there, and I said that I would just kind of throw it out there for Shane East Meets. Sorry, East Meets. I can talk. I swear to God, I could.
It's a tough one, I know. When I came up with that, like when we were talking, I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a bit of a tongue twister," but
Yeah.
Shane
So
East Meets.
yes, for your show there for your series, any option or possibilities of having Joe be a guest?
I mean, I can't be in the same room as that man. I'd have to. um, I don't.
You had probably set some ground rules, right?
Well, I think we discussed this before, actually, when we were talking about the whole concept. That I said about I'd like to chat to other narrators as well,
Mhm.
because I think that'd be quite interesting, since we'll both be in on the inside scoop and can maybe talk about stuff that other people might not think about. So yes, so chatting to him has that's not the first time I've thought of that, or
Mhm.
that idea has come up. I did see someone write that, and I was like, "Yep, don't worry." There's a few people I would like to chat to on the narrator side. So yeah, he'd probably be a good one.
Mhm.
We'll see. We'll see.
No, that question was coming through, and I'm like, I may have to be in on the conversation, like on mute, just to say, "Hey, boys, focus."
Who knows? It might be the most boring fucking conversation you've ever heard.
True. You
Maybe
never
we're
know.
just good on Twitter. I don't know. But he's very chatty in real life. Like we get on. So who
Mhm.
knows? Maybe we'll see. I don't know if he's going to the Audies. Maybe if he is, I'll see then. Or
Oh boy.
I'll stir up some people that I can chat to after the
Mhm.
Audie. That'll
That'd
be,
be fun.
because I'll see everyone there, so then I can kind of, maybe get
Mhm.
some ideas and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
on its way.
Yeah.
So let's leave it like
Well,
that.
you recently spoke with Ava Harrison,
Hmm.
the author, on your most recent episode there, for that series, and you guys had fun. I loved listening to that interview. Learned a lot.
Yeah. So did I. She wrote a sex scene on at a bar. Poor husband had to just. She was like, "Give me 5 minutes," and then she whipped out a sex scene. I remember her telling me about that.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a fun conversation. I
Mhm.
enjoyed all of that. Yeah, and apparently we'll be working together. She says she doesn't this coming year or next year. I don't know. She's
Yeah,
got
she said she has
in
to
the
write the books
works.
first.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
It's nice though, don't
She's
you
putting in
think?
a time slot already.
Yeah. Well, it's nice when it comes down to planning, because you guys are so busy, and they want to make sure that you're available. So that's a good thing. But I
Yeah.
think it's kind of cool that she's like, I'm going to write a book and you're going to narrate it, and you're like, cool, okay.
It's really nice. It's really nice when someone has you in mind. And
Hmm.
also because, as I think, as they get to know you a bit, and her and I have socialized. At the Sovas, we met in person, and then at Rare in London and stuff. So it's nice when people kind of get a vibe for you.
Hmm.
And I think, like she said, she actually writes with narrators in mind. And I think that shows when you get to perform it. It's just nice to have that connection to the material, I think, with someone having thought of you and stuff. Yeah, it's I look forward to that. So we'll see
Hmm.
what she comes up with.
Yeah, me too.
Something with a darkness to it. I don't know. Well, probably knowing Ava.
Hmm.
Some realness. That's what I probably should be the right word. Some real darkness, or darkness that's real. I don't know. She likes real life, is what she was saying, wasn't she, on a podcast?
Yeah, she writes, if the guy's being a dick and you break up with him, that's what you would probably do in real life versus giving him another chance. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that is kind of cool.
Well, and she gives her characters like real, actual issues, like real, whether they're medical, whatever it is. Like there's something to grapple with that's can be
Hmm.
quite, it's very real. So we'll see what she pops up with. I look forward to it.
Yeah, she sent me I had shared on her reader group that you and I were getting together, and again shared the form for the this and that questions, and then she
Mm.
popped in there and she's like, yeah, I got to come up with a couple of questions because I'm going to get him back for that sex question.
Ah, she said, "Listen, Ava, you said ask whatever you want."
Yeah, I
You're-
reminded her.
She said on text, she was like, "I'm an open book." I was like,
Hmm.
"Okay, here we go." Well, I've always wanted to ask this question uh, to authors in this genre, so she got that. That question will come out again, so I'm sure I need to ask some other authors how they go about that
Yeah, and it's interesting
particular.
from when I've spoken to the authors about how they do it. There's been some of them do this similar thing where they go insert sex scene here, and then they'll get to it later.
Mm,
But it's a fair question to ask, from because you guys as narrators are constantly asked the same question. So when you're you know performing this one scene, you guys will
Yeah.
get, you get asked if there was, how, if it was uncomfortable, if you guys were more into it, kind of thing. So kind of goes.
Yeah, I can tell you we're not writhing around the booth as we do those scenes. There's no room for one, and two, just no. But
Thanks for the visual, Shane. Thanks for the visual.
I mean, I don't know. Listen, if it makes people happy to think of me or the likes of Andy rolling around the booth as we do those things, like have a like happy 2020.
Yeah.
Just the logistics wouldn't work. But
Yeah.
I think we're so used to it. I was doing it today. I was not love
That's the
scene
rolling
talking.
around the guy. Okay.
No, not right. I have a booth that you lock yourself into, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's not massive. So yeah, you have enough room to sort of sit and move your arms, but that's about it. But no, just the fact of like today I was recording, finishing the Penelope Ward one that I've been doing with Andy, and I just realized a lot of the things that you do, sort of suddenly talking as if I'm Andy and a sort of female voice and stuff. Becomes very the norm, and every now and then I sort of catch myself. I'm like, oh, that's coming out of my mouth. So yeah, same with the sex scenes, I think sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Again, I mean, you guys get asked that a lot. I mean, I know I've asked that question, to some extent, about how, especially when you're in not your own booth, when there's other people around and you're having to record that, and there's the engineers there or a producer or whatever. How
Yeah, that
sometimes, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I haven't had to do that too often, but yeah, it's a few times it's been in a studio like that. So it's different. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, especially things, it seems like these authors love them, not complaining, but sometimes they get even steamier and steamier with each book. Like it's like they're trying to, outdo themselves or others, and they're like, "No, hold my beer. Here you go," and you're going, "Okay."
Ye- Yeah, yeah. It depends on the book, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
it's very interesting because I've had a lot of different writers, like sort of 1 and 2 day projects already this year. It's interesting swapping from author to author to different type of voice and also how they approach that side of it, the sort of the love and the sex side of it can be very different, ranging from really full on through to a lot more, I don't know, rom-com territory maybe. It's not so intense, or
Hmm.
the verbiage is a little is not so graphic. It's a little more, so it's very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. Penelope Ward is the first time I've actually narrated for her, so that was interesting reading her stuff. I really liked it.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah,
she
it was really
shared
good.
about that one. I
Hmm.
think she shared about that one. Was it the One More Year? I think it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah, and it's like there's love and sex in that too, but it's the stories it's different. It was really interesting reading her stuff. I liked it a lot, and I can very much hear Andy. I could see how Andy why she wanted Andy to do the girl.
Hmm.
Very much so. So hopefully it'll turn out great, because I think it's got all the makings of it.
Yeah, I do like it when you share that you enjoyed recording a book. I always end up adding it to my list that keeps growing because you keep recommending stuff. If it is in Netflix shows, now it's books.
That's what's that word? There's different word for people. Maybe I'm turning into there's those people that is it mavens, and then there are people who are something else. I read a book once which like categorized people, and then there are people that always kind of like pass information on. So
Hmm.
maybe that's what I'm trying to do. But if I like something, I do like to use social media, I guess, to sort of pass it along. Um, but Penelope Ward I would say, she's a. It wasn't so graphically steamy. That's definitely not her zone. Have you read her stuff?
A few years ago, yeah, I'd have.
Yeah, I'd seen
Hmm.
it was. I don't know how to describe it actually, so I'm not going to try it. But yeah, it wasn't as intensely steamy as other things. But
Hmm.
the real crux of it was this relationship between these two young people and how it develops, which was really nice.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for the sexy times and anything like, oh, cool, I learned something new. I'm all great with that. But at the end of the day, for me, it has to be the story. So
Yeah,
whether it's extremely erotic and, with significantly more kink, or very much sweets and
Yeah.
kind of fade to black, that to me is like no big deal. It's more so for the story itself. Now I will say that if the review says there's too much sex, I may look into it a little bit more.
Oh.
you know because I'm going, help. Well, it's the same thing when they say, oh, they use too much the word fuck, and I'm going, oh, there's profanity, cursing. Let me see that, just because again, it's one of those like, that's what you have issues with.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so for me, it's more about the story. So that whole level of esteem is, like I said, cool. You can learn
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, what was they called it? What did Louise Bay call it? Bonk busters. That's what she described to me when I had chatted with her. She talked
Yeah.
about bonk busters, which was really like one bed to the next bed to the next bed, and the story sort of like just got you from bedroom to bedroom
Hmm.
or hallway or wherever the fuck it was. But yeah, no, this one was this also because this one we just did just 1 year is they're young, like they're
Hmm.
sort of college age, um, so that kind of dictates the story as well. It's not, I think that's why it's not such a, bonk. It's not a bonk buster at all in
I
that
love
respect.
how they think that that's the truth, though.
What's that?
I love how they think, like, when it comes down to like the whole like younger, like the older
Mm,
YAs, when they're about 18, and 20, or the what they call the young adults, which I still don't like that verbiage there.
mm.
They kind of go with the whole like, it's a little sweeter, it's not as intense, and I'm like, listen, yeah, they're probably more intense than some of the other ones in real life, you know.
Right.
It's so, but yeah.
No, I could imagine it going either way, but this particular story
Hmm.
is just they're both kind of come from a bit damaged backgrounds, so
Hmm.
there's kind of that element to it. So
Hmm.
yeah, and Andy's character is a lot more sort of reclusive and sort of keeps her guard up and all of that stuff. So, and then my character has some really dark stuff to deal with. So that kind of is the impetus in the story, and then they find each other through that. In spite of that, maybe might be the best words. But anyway, I won't give too much away because
Yeah.
I don't know how much has been said on that. But it's good, and it should be out in February. I think it's coming out next month. So
Yeah, I think they know that she shared it, but I'm not sure. It has not shown up on Audible yet for pre-orders. So
right.
yeah, because this is what happens. We find out that an author we like or love announces that there's an audiobook coming out, and then they share the cast or
Yeah.
the narrator, and then you're like automatically run over to Audible and you add it to your wish list or pre-order it if it's available. Otherwise,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So that's how we roll. That's how we do
Mm.
it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got the gist on Twitter.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and then of course there are the Shanax. Oh my god, I mean, how do they pronounce it? So you have that new group that's all about you on Facebook.
It's called the Shaniacs, I think,
Shaniacs. There we go. There is
is
the.
how it is. Yeah, which is, as I think we've discussed before, is very flattering, very,
Hmm.
very nice. I don't know anything much about it other than there's a Facebook group, I think,
Hmm.
of people who like my work,
Yeah.
which has more than 2 people in it. That's all I know. Which has
Yes. No, there's more than two. I was invited. I know I was the one that texted you, and I'm going, dude, you have a group.
yeah.
And you thought I was kidding at first. It seemed, right. You thought I was, that it wasn't for real. I
Well,
think.
I mean, I'm not, I don't think of myself as egotistical. So I do find it quite, it's very charming and very
Hmm.
flattering for people to sort of, uh, do that sort of thing. And I would never, I don't think, get to a point where I just be like, well, of course there's a group about me. You know what I mean? Like, what an arsehole. So,
Yeah.
so I think when you said, I was like, oh, wow, okay, what is that then? That's
Yeah.
very nice. But I don't delve too much into it because I think I just let people have their thing. I think it'd be weird for me to be sort of looking myself up through the eyes of other people. Like, I don't know. That's my presumption on it.
Yeah. Well, the authors have what they call the reader groups. So they've
Mm.
come up with the groups where they talk about you know uh, the love of the author, their favorite stories, all to do with that particular author. And there has been now a couple of groups that have, besides Oral Fixation, for an example, that does all of the audiobooks. There are a
Mm.
few narrators that have created their own groups to just
Oh,
yeah, to just to kind of say, hey, these are, because you guys know what's coming up before
gotcha.
we
Yeah.
do as the listeners, because you guys are getting hired for these projects. And it also allows for some of the authors to pop in and just kind of like share, maybe sneak peeks into something or give us a heads up first before it's officially announced, so we all feel like we're special,
Ah,
and things like that. So I think that's where the whole concept of like Shane meets a group.
gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I totally understand
Yeah.
that. That that
Hmm.
make that makes total sense. But if someone's created a group for you,
Hmm.
I'd feel very odd sort of popping in.
No, they're dying for you to do
Oh, I don't
that.
know. We'll see. Although I have to say, I'm going to put this out here now because I feel terrible. But an author asked me in December about doing a Facebook Live for them, and this was all stored on my. It's a bit of a tangent, but in case they're listening, it was stored on my desktop, and there was a spreadsheet of like the days available and all that stuff. And cannot I came back from being away and that window's gone on my desktop because I closed everything down stupidly. And so I have no idea who that author was. And I can't seem to find the email. So if you are listening, I totally apologize. But it got mixed up in the Christmas fray and I can't for the life of me figure out who it is. I put in all sorts of authors' names into my
Search.
Gmail.
Hmm.
Yeah, to check, and no, they all come up with product thing like project threads. No one comes up with the Facebook Live situation. So, if whoever you are listening, please just email me again because I haven't got a clue.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's that. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
So does that mean that you are open to doing a Facebook Live if other
yeah, but not in my own group.
yeah.
Like not in a group that's dedicated to me. I'd feel very strange. Just not right now. Maybe,
Yeah.
but I loved it. I did it
Hmm.
oral fixation one.
Yes.
Yeah, I did that one. That's the only other one I've done. And
Mhm.
I'm totally up. If I have the time, I totally do it. So,
Yeah, they
yeah,
can be fun.
yeah, it's nice. I wasn't sure what to expect the first time I did it, but
They were
people start
kind.
writing in, and they were yeah. Otherwise, they just walk off. Um, just have a strop and leave. No, everyone's so lovely on. I wouldn't have never expected anything else. I don't think I've ever encountered any trolls on social media in the romance department. Um, I don't know about anyone else, but I've never. Um, Always very nice stuff.
Yeah. No, I know that the group they invited me, so I'm in there, and they've been great. They have not gone in. They're not going crazy or anything, and I love that they share. Like if there was one or two people that had just discovered you and they were asking for recommendations.
Oh,
So
lovely.
people were jumping in and saying, "Oh, well, if you like, contemporary, then check out these, and if you like PNR, then check out that." So that's kind of cool too from that
Oh,
perspective.
nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've only had one funny experience, and funny like ha ha weird, but funny.
Funny.
Was yeah, someone posted a picture of me on Twitter that was from a video that Zach Weber had posted on his Patreon. Is that how you say it? Patreon, uh,
Mhm.
site, which is a subscription thing that he has. And then I'd never seen it, and I was like, "What the fuck? Where did that come from?" That was my only weird thing with social media, but I didn't mind at all because once I can't remember her name, but she's on there quite a bit, and she explained. She's like, "Oh, I got it from that," and I was like, "Oh, okay," because I was like, "What on earth?" It was just like a side sort of picture of me. I was like, "Who is stalking me? That's so strange."
Oh boy.
But yeah, it was Zach, and he was filming stuff when we were all at Rare, so that's why.
Hmm. Yeah, I know the Patreon is a pretty interesting concept. I know that a lot of people are starting to use that for the arts, and that was the original intent, anyways. Is for to help financially with the arts, and you get stuff depending on which level of
Yeah.
donations or that you kind of buy the different tiers and stuff. So it's kind of nice that he's using you as a and providing some sharing the love on
Oh
that.
yeah, he asked us. He asked
Yeah,
us
yeah.
all before Rare. He emailed
No,
and
yeah.
said, "Anyone mind if I am?" We were all like, "No, like feel free."
Hmm. That's cool
But
though.
yeah, I just didn't remember that video being taken. So then my side angle of me kind of looking up, I was like, "What the fuck where's that from?" So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, it's just one of those. No one has been following you or stalking you. Or did we ever
Mm,
talk about if they
yeah.
recognize your voice? Like, has your voice ever, like, when you're out and about ordering someplace or food or anything like that? I don't think.
No,
No, not yet. All
no,
right.
I don't think. I mean, not yet. Who can say? Uh, yeah, I also just I don't sound quite, you can sound quite different depending. I mean, that's not true actually, because when I'm talking about myself, so I guess it's my
Hmm.
perception of my voice.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, because I was just thinking about it, and I was like, well, no, actually, when I worked with everybody for Lauren, everyone does sound like themselves. But I don't know. There's a slightly different way of my work voice is probably slightly different than my regular lazy speaking voice. So maybe people wouldn't recognize me. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. If that day comes, I will let you know. I would just be
Okay.
surprised. I think they'd have to be a real sort of aficionado of stuff to know. But I
Hmm.
get confused with people in the UK. People always text me and say, "Are you on this commercial? Is it your voice?" And it's like, no. So,
Ah.
so I have doppelgangers. I don't know. Um,
Huh.
yeah, I know. I don't know. So that's
But you have a distinct, you know, tone there, and plus obviously the accent is key. Um, but now you're
yeah, I
doing a
don't
whole
know.
lot of different Scottish and Irish accents too. So, but there's a
That's
cadence
true.
and stuff like that you do, and there's where your ups and downs when you talk.
When I talk,
Yes.
uh-huh.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to monitor
unless
myself.
yeah, unless you mumble a lot more, do you mumble like when you're not on the talking to people? Are you a mumbler?
I have I
Really?
can be. I think I've been accused of that. I don't know. It's just because my friends are loud though, because everyone's American. So
Oh,
they're- no,
damn.
I don't
Oh,
mean that
shit.
rudely.
I'm
I
just
just mean
kidding. Just kidding.
I say that because I'm also a lot louder now, and it's far. It's good with me, but in my general day-to-day life, because when I went back home, I think I was messaging some friends. I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Now I understand," because people in England speak so quietly. Like
Hmm.
I have to keep asking them, like, "What? What did you say?" Like especially my folks, my parents and stuff. And it's just all very, it's very quiet. And everyone's just sort of saying stuff. And it's like, "What are you saying?" So I've definitely Americanized in that respect. So I
Oh,
mean no disrespect
no.
about Americans being loud mouths or anything, or British being all cold and uptight and mumbling. No cliches. But yeah, we definitely are. But yeah, I think out of my group I get accused of mumbling. Uh,
Yeah.
but that's because I'm the only English person in that group.
Oh.
I think. But also I realize I do what my mum does in when I speak with people or with friends is my mum swaps stories all the time. And I was losing the thread with her a lot. And I was like, well, what are you talking about now? Like, where are we now? And then she'd relate it back to something which was like 4 sentences ago. And I was
Oh,
like,
I know
oh,
that.
okay. And then I realized that I was like, oh my God, that's what I do. That's why some of my friends are like, well, what do you mean? Who? And I'm like, well, no, the thing I'm talking about. And then it's like, oh no, I wasn't actually. I just swapped back and forth. It's like, so I'm trying to learn to be more succinct, which is very different from the booth because all the words are written for me. So there's no there's no room for error there.
Yeah. Yeah, I do it sometimes with friends that are in this, when we've had conversations where they know what I'm talking about, I'll go off and then I'll kind of tie it into everything. And then I've had other ones that I've had to tell them, like, where are you going with this? How is
Yeah.
this relevant to the other thing? Because I'm trying to, connect the dots and I'm lost. And I hate that feeling of being lost in a conversation. So yeah, I've done that as well.
Uh,
And I've told
uh,
people, you mumble, I don't understand you, enunciate, for God's sakes.
yeah. Yeah, I know. And I think, what was it that, oh, and I over explain. That's what I realized going back home. It was interesting because I spent several days with my parents, which
Mhm.
was really lovely because I haven't been able to do that for a long time. Just us. And it was really nice. I mean, I laugh because I'm also about twice the size of my parents. I don't know how that happened. Uh, I'm 6 feet tall, and they're like my mum's barely 5 foot, I think, and my dad's 5 foot, like early 5 foot kind of thing. So they're both kind of, it's a bit like, you know, the Shires a little bit with my parents. I love them. Like they kind of follow it. So now, and because me and my brother were both bigger than them by the time we were like 12 or 13.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
it was like, I don't know how the genes worked, but we both were quite tall. So,
Mhm.
so anyway, I was just, with them I just had a vision of wandering around with them. They're lovely. They're like pottering around, and then we go to the shops, and then they follow me around. And so it was just adorable. I just really enjoyed it with them. But I realized that as a whole, my family, especially my mother, over explains a lot, which probably explains why, when you do the this and that thing, I can't shut my mouth. I think it's inherited. But I came back for 2020. I was like, you have to maybe not over explain as much to people about things. Be more succinct. Because it must get really wearing after a while when I say something in 10 sentences that I could say in 2. So that's one of my vows for 2020. I don't know how well I'm doing at that, by the way.
No. Well, I like, sometimes getting more detailed when it comes down to, especially like when it's storytelling or sharing something versus the, how was your day? Fine. Did anything interesting happen? No.
Yeah.
So I prefer.
Yeah, I feel like there's a happy medium that I sometimes
Oh.
don't straddle very well. I'm definitely not the "how was your day" good person. I'm like, oh, this, and then I'll go into. I guess that's why I talk for a living. So I use my voice for a living. I just can't shut my mouth. So yeah, that's it.
I would be a bad narrator because I talk with my hands a lot sometimes. I get animated especially when I really like what we're talking about. And my hands will probably be swinging all over the place to send. I'm like, stop it, Viviana, you're making noise.
Yeah, you have to have a special setup for you, and no jewelry, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
No zips, yeah, all of that stuff.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of rules.
You just learn. Because you've been to, especially when you first start, and you've been to studios, and then if you've seen other people or something, especially when I've done big movie stuff, and there's 20 of us in the studio together in this huge soundstage. I sort of saw pretty quickly that wearing zippers or wearing things that rustle, it was like, oh no, like, because then the sound guy's like, hey. Who's that over on the right and then some guy's got like some jacket with some material that's all shiny and looks great but terrible for a soundstage. That and jewelry, like especially if you move your hands around and stuff, you've got watches on, like you'll get little clicks and things. So yeah, just those common sense things we think we've all had to learn at some point.
Yeah, I did a lot of learning when I first did the first year of the Audiobook Lovin Series that I did in June, where I think I had some bracelets and I was trying to edit. I'm like, what the hell is that noise? I'm like, oh shit, that's me. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there goes that. Yeah, but it sounds like you had a really good time with your on vacation, and your parents sound so cute.
They're very adorable, and they're so amenable. That's what I don't know if that's because I'm now older or they're retired, so like I think time is a lot slow. They live outside of London, so it's a lot more chill. So they were just very happy to wander around with me, and then it was no stress, no pressure. If we were sort of in Marks and Spencer's, which is my mother's favorite department store, it's very UK centric. If you've been to the UK, you've seen Marks and Spencer's. If you haven't, you wouldn't know. But my mum loves that place, always had. So, but just wander around there. They'd follow me around and they'd wait for me while I go look at this. They come back. This is really easy and amenable. They're very sweet. They're very.
Oh, that means they like you.
Yeah, they really loved having me there, which was
good.
It was really quite special because I haven't had the chance to do that for a long time now. So
that is cool. And I know that you the last time we talked, we're talking about some of the things that you noticed here in the States that are not like back home for you. And now that you've been back there, I think you kind of had a moment there with the plugs about how you're used to having all the electrical plugs available, not behind really heavy furniture.
Oh yeah. So my mum's bedroom, the spare bedroom. I was like, oh, where do you plug stuff in? And then they'd reorganized it and they'd covered up all the plugs with the bed and the wardrobe and something else. I was like, what the? But there was only 2 outlets in there anyway. And anyway, yeah, I was like, what is going on in this place? But also no one stays in there. So I think I'm the first one to point out the fact that I can't charge my phone overnight. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah,
And
I know you.
everything's smaller there. The little house is small. It's like
Hmm.
it's perfect for them, but it's kind of you realize everything's on a much bigger scale over here.
Hmm. Yeah, plus you're 6 foot, so you're very tall.
Yeah, yeah, I am. But then when I realized that we grew up in this sort of 3-bedroom house that was really tiny, and when I think about it, like comparatively speaking, a US version would be so much bigger. And then yeah, there we all were. Uh, so it's a good job my parents were small because my
Yeah.
brother and I grew into little giants, and then all of us being big in that house would have been a disaster.
Yes, true. But don't get used to being 6 foot all the time, because as we get older, we shrink. So
I thought that was more of a female phenomenon, or is that across the
no,
board?
no, my dear, it's all.
It's all of us. We're all
Yes, it's all
shit.
of us. Yes, yes.
Well, I'll do Pilates or something. One of those things that's supposed to keep you stretchy and long.
Yeah.
Keep
That's
at
what she said. Anyways.
it.
Yeah, because that's when you were talking about your mom being short. And I'm like, it's probably because she's also, as we age, we get a little shorter.
Yeah,
And
oh my God. If she heard you say that, I think she'd come through the phone line.
no,
That's, yeah, I couldn't say that to my mum. Have you
no,
shrunk in old age?
no.
I think that would get the dinner thrown at me.
Oh no, for sure.
But
No.
I do know what you're talking about, because she started taking calcium years ago when I was
Mm-hmm.
like, we're going way back when I think
Mm-hmm.
I do remember all of that chit
Mm-hmm.
chat, and then
Yeah.
my mum was talking about it, I think in her 50s or something.
Yeah.
Wow,
I didn't say her age. You did.
brilliant.
Uh,
Well, she's older than that now, but yeah,
yeah. Oh God.
retired. They've retired. They've retired. You do the math. I'm not giving the exact ages, but they're
All I'm
retired.
saying is, if Shane's mom's listening, I was the one defending you regarding the plugs, because he did ask if there were plugs in the room.
I made a joke on Twitter. My
Yeah.
mum never goes on social media other than
Yeah.
Facebook, so she'll never have a clue about that. She'll be fine with it.
No, I know.
Fine.
Oh goodness, parents. All right, so we're actually getting to that part where we start asking you this or that. If you're ready.
Yeah, I'm going to be succinct.
We'll see.
My 2020 resolution.
All right, so let's see. Co-narrating with Joe Arden or doing a Facebook Live?
I'd choose Joe Arden. I'd co-narrate with him. He's great. He is great. I just want to set the record straight. He's excellent and very, very talented.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be on that boat.
Got it. Sweet or savory?
It's not a binary question, is it? As like, if
Just be you, Shane. Just be you.
well, say it's savory then. Savory, I'd say in general.
Okay.
I really like chocolate, so that's hard. Just a little bit though. Like, I have to have a little bit. Don't you have that? Like, after a meal, like you just have to have like a bite of something.
like a bite of something sweet, or is it like
Yeah,
chocolate?
like once you've had your meal, like I don't know, like a piece of dark chocolate or just something.
Yeah, I'm finding it, especially like after dinner, I'll have like a craving for something sweet right afterwards. So I've
There you
learned to
go.
keep something small, like portion controlled, um,
Mhm.
where I can just have it and stuff like that. But yeah, it is definitely something that you kind of crave and stuff. Because I know that so from a chocolate perspective, when you say chocolate, you're talking about just something sweet in general, or is it just like chocolate, like dark
Well,
chocolate?
that's just easy, like, because I don't eat a lot. I don't eat cakes and stuff particularly,
Yeah,
but or ice cream. I'm not really into that so much. So
yeah.
just to have like a piece of chocolate or a biscuit, a English biscuit, it's like a sweet one, like a
Okay.
shortbread, a cookie,
Cookie. Yeah.
along those lines.
Yeah.
But savory overall.
Overall. Okay.
Yeah,
Wine or beer?
wine. Well,
Okay.
I like the taste of beer. I don't like how it makes me feel.
Um,
Makes me really bloated. I know. I can't drink a lot of it. I know. It's a lot of information on this and that.
that's why I love asking you.
I know. I can't. I just divulge far too much. It does though. It makes. I love them, but then after two, I'm like, oh, gosh,
Oh, it's
just
because of the fizz. Yeah.
sloshing around. Yeah.
Yeah.
So wine is great. I like wine.
Yeah. Is it red or white do you prefer?
White. I prefer white, to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm more of the white because the red one gives me a headache.
Yeah. Well, you have to get the stuff without a lot of. You can get wines that don't have a lot of sulfites in,
Mm-hmm.
and that like helps like not get the headachy
Yeah.
shit. Yeah. Apparently, because that's what I tried, and I was like, oh, okay, this works. I can drink more again. It's great. Uh, not that I have an issue, but it's FYI.
Yeah.
So yeah, wine.
Wine. Got it. So this is a Lauren Blakely shared English breakfast or Earl Grey tea.
Oh, English breakfast. I'm not even going to go into that rabbit hole. English breakfast all the way.
I was going to ask, is there a difference?
I mean, that's like saying, is Canada different to the US? To me, they're very different.
Huh.
They might both be tea, but yeah, Earl Grey has like bergamot, which is this florally thing.
Oh, okay.
I can smell it. My friends think I'm a right prima donna because I have ordered English breakfast in restaurants or like a brunch or something and gotten Earl Grey.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even have to taste it. I can just smell it.
Oh, wow.
And then I'll ask, and then they'll go, "Oh, I don't know." And then they go away and they look at packets and they like, "I think it's like, yeah, I can't drink that." So yeah, you said Lauren sent that question in.
Yeah, Lauren.
She knows. I'm sure she knows English breakfast. I love that stuff.
Yeah. I've been doing a bit more variety when it comes down to the teas and stuff because I'm just used to the regular. Don't shoot me like Lipton.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
sweet Jesus!
I know, but no, I'm better now. I'm better now.
Oh, I had that stuff when I moved here. Someone in a restaurant. I was like, "What is that?" And I was like, I mean, I wasn't rude to the person, but in my head, I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And because Lipton we used to get the only place we got Lipton was when we went on holiday in Europe to like Spain and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we were always horrified with it. We're like, this is what they think English breakfast or black tea is like over here. Okay, cool. Because it's Spain. They don't drink tea really, I guess.
Right.
And then when I came to the US and found that it was here, wow, you've been conned. You've been conned. That stuff is dreadful.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sue me, Lipton.
I know, yeah. Like I said, I'm expanding. It's been a couple of years now that I've been kind of branching out. I have yet to do the whole milk in the tea thing, though. Do you do that?
How can you not? How can you not with it? Sorry, I'm getting so irate about the tea situation. It's very, very close to my heart. I don't know, Lauren. You started a firestorm. How can you not with English breakfast or black tea? How can you have it without milk?
I don't know. It's because I grew up drinking the tea, and it was just one of those where that wasn't even a thing. So the fact when I learned as I got older that they put milk in, I'm like, well, it goes in coffee. And
oh
yeah, so I still have yet to get the nerve to do that and try it. So yeah.
Well, you never put milk in herbal teas and all fruity things and green tea and all of that stuff, never. But with black tea, with English breakfast tea, specifically like an Assam or Darjeeling or something, like a mix of those. Or I mean, I don't know, always. I only will have it without milk if I've run out of milk and I'm desperate for a cuppa. That's it. I will have it without, but I don't like it without milk.
Yeah, because they're darker, more.
It's too strong. Like, the milk like takes off the edge, but we don't have honey in it either.
Oh, okay.
I don't. That seems to because in restaurants I'll get brought when I say, "Oh, I have an English breakfast," and I have to say with milk because otherwise they don't bring the milk often.
Right.
And then, but they often bring honey, which I find is interesting.
Do you sweeten it at all, though?
I don't know, but in England we wouldn't sweeten it with honey. We'd just maybe put a piece of sugar in or something.
In it, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, Lauren, look at that conversation you started.
Well, what better person to talk to about tea than someone that's British? Come on.
I know. You got me going. Exactly. My succinct thing went right out the window.
Well, that was my fault because I was asking the questions. I was like, hey, I have him here. I might as well ask him because, he's official. Because now I look and I'm like, it's made in England or, to see if it's more official or not when it comes down to grabbing my teas. Um,
Oh, well, I will say one thing I will say on that is that some of the stuff I see in the supermarket and it sort of says that it's like officially British. I'm like, I've never seen that make in my life. They've obviously got something. They might be made in England, but they've kind of tapped into the US market. So
oh yeah,
just beware.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send you a text saying, "Is this one it?"
Yeah. Just run them by me.
I will run them by you going
Please.
forward. Oh goodness. And the last question: tacos or burritos?
Oh, tacos.
Yeah,
Yeah. Burritos too much. Right? No?
yeah, they put a lot of stuff. They make it into like an entire like just the one is the meal because they put the rice and the beans and the other stuff in it.
Yeah, and my friend asked me the other day if a burrito was fattening, and I was
Oh
like,
my gosh. Yeah.
are you all right?" And he was like, "What?" I mean, look, he's in great shape. Like I don't think he has to ever think about what he eats. So he's just like, "Yeah, I was like burrito fattening." I was like, it's got. He's like, "Why?" And I was like, "Because it's wrapped in like a bread thing, like a tortilla." I said, and then it's got rice, beans, cheese. It's got all that stuff. He was like, "Oh, I guess so."
Yeah, it's not keto friendly.
No,
No.
exactly. I mean, yeah. So I just find that they're just too much. Like taco's nice, and you can put what you want in it.
Hmm.
You can add a bit of guacamole and whatever sour cream and stuff, or you don't have to. Whereas burrito,
Hmm.
it's like you're going to waddle out of that restaurant
Yeah,
or
that's
away
true.
from that food truck wherever you are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I saw that question. I'm going, I think it's gonna go to tacos.
Mm,
Um,
definitely.
okay. So what can you share that you're currently working on?
So I actually have my calendar here for once.
Ooh.
So stuff that's coming up in the romance genre, because there's some other stuff, but I'll stick with the romance. Yeah, I did a small part on a Marnie Mann book that's coming out with Ava Erickson. Again, I can't remember the title.
You're fine. I don't think it's out for pre-orders because I looked and you don't have anything coming out as of yet on Audible. So
I don't. Okay.
no.
Well, okay, I can tell you these titles though. I also did Lauren Landish book this week called The Dare, which should be out fairly soon. Actually, I think it's coming out next month. I did that with Carly Robbins. Um, I've done another. Have you been the Diana Knightley books I've been doing with the Scottish Magnus, the Scottish character, Caitlin and the Highlander? No, okay. That's if you want to hear me be very, very Scottish, like intensely Scottish. So I did book 7, I think, in that. I wasn't in the first 4 books, but then they picked up the male point of view. So that's coming out. I've got another Laurel and Page in that sleigh. There's been books 1 and 2 in that series. I'm doing book 3 next week. And then I think I do have a bunch of other stuff, but I don't know the names of them yet.
Okay.
I'm working again with Anna Durand next
Yes.
month to do another. I did Insatiable in a Kilt
Yes.
last year, and we're doing Lethal in a Kilt, which is now follows the brother who I think is former MI6 or something, if I remember. Anyway, he's sort of special ops kind of guy. So the last one in the last book was the billionaire Scotsman kind of thing, and then this one is your security type guy. So so that should be good. I don't know who I'm working with yet. We're still figuring that one out.
Yeah, she shared it on Twitter and she's like, yeah, read by Shane East and mysterious woman to be determined.
Yeah, she needs to decide. We're going to chat this weekend
Cool.
because I'm also producing that one. So figuring out who she'd like or who she thinks is right, because there's so many great people. That's what I was suggesting names to her, and then I was listening to people and I was like, wow, that's a tough choice, isn't it? It's like, there's a lot of really good all in their own kind of way. It's like,
Oh
so
yeah.
with me, I think it's always a bit like, I'm British, so it's kind of that narrows it down. But when I sort of like was looking at the the spectrum of like female narrators in the genre. I was like, wow, there's so many great names. So anyway, but we'll see. It's a hard choice, so she'll figure it out. So yeah, and then there's a bunch of other stuff coming in, but I don't have the names of them yet. So I'll be Irish. I'll be, one of them's about a harem or a harem, as you guys, as Americans say. Don't know what that is. I've said yes to it. It's with the publisher I work with, so I'm not sure, but that should be interesting.
Is it a reverse harem or?
I don't think so. She
Okay.
she called them the harem. I've written in my calendar the harem books. So that's me and my
Your
organization.
shorthand.
Because then I know I'll look it up in the emails when time comes closer, and I'll look up the publisher, and then I'll go back to the thread, and then I'll figure it out from there. But anyway, so yeah, so there's plenty of stuff coming up, and then I'm working with Lily Valenti again. I did a little Christmas story with her just in December. I think she did that as a giveaway, actually. I don't think that was anything. It may have been to her readers, listeners. But we're doing another job. She asked me to do one with her next month in February. So I don't know much about it. I think she's still writing it. But there'll be that. And then I'm working with Crystal Caswell next month. Have you heard of her?
Nope.
No. Crystal Caswell, I think. Yeah, so she approached me, and so it should be interesting. Again, I think she's finishing off writing that story. But I'll be with Vanessa Edwins. If you know, I've done some stuff with her, and I think she's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, so plenty on its way is the crux of that.
That's awesome.
Another succinct explanation from Shane.
Yeah, no, it's just, again, there's so many books out there. I've had a conversation with someone, and they're like, "Hey, have you listened to this or listened to that?" And I'm going, I'm still playing catch up from the holidays, and my list keeps getting longer because the authors keep writing really good stories and then casting really, really good narrators. So
yeah, I can see. I mean, because like I said, picking out names to recommendations for working on this Lethan and the Kilt book, I was like, wow, all of these, but I know all of these girls and stuff, I was like, they're all great. So if you become a fan of these, a lot of people, there's a lot of content to make your way through. So great stuff. But yeah, it's almost like too many TV programs to watch that you really want to watch. I get it. Although I heard from authors that romance listeners devour books, like, several a week. Like they go through them.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
a lot.
you don't.
Well, here's the thing. I listen to it at normal speed. And I've learned that there's a lot of listeners that are especially the ones that are doing like a lot of like large volumes in a week kind of thing. It's because they're speeding up the pace.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah. Which I'm like, I'm listening to Shane for a reason. I don't want to like speed him up.
I tried that once on my speeding up on Audible when I was listening to myself, like something had come out. It wasn't romance, it was other stuff, and I tried it just for the hell of it. And yeah, I found it a bit weird. I wasn't really sure how people listened to it sort of speeded up. And also because I think especially with romance, I tend to narrate. I think a lot of us tend to narrate a bit quicker than we might other genres, because I don't know if that's true or not, if it's just to me, because it's conversational. It's like you don't need to spell it out as much in certain respects, if you know what I mean. Like I think the way they're written is quicker and or works out that way for me maybe than other genres. So that's why I'm sort of surprised. I think Andy said she narrates at speed 1.5. She said that's her that's her go-to speed, so you don't need to speed her up.
I think that's the average that people listen to it at, from a quote unquote normal. It's like the 1.5 or the 1. But I've had people that go to 2 and I'm going, no.
I guess it depends. I mean, because everyone's got their own style, and different publishers also. Like I say, when I go to a certain publisher, they always want me to, like take my time a bit more. which is interesting, and that's what I know from listening to their stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, there tends to be a lot more languid in its overall, but yeah, I don't find romance like that. I think romance it tends to be a bit more zippy.
Yeah, conversational speed.
Yeah, the action comes along a bit more, things are happening, chit chat, and all of that stuff. So you don't need to draw that out. So it lends itself to that, I think.
Yeah, that's why, I used to listen to a lot more, but just, craziness and people interrupting. I'm like, I'm listening to a book. I don't know, don't go away. I don't care if you need your spreadsheet now, go away.
Yeah, I don't know where I'd find that. I don't know where I'd find the time to listen to more. But I think some people listen at work, don't they? So I think
I listen to at work depending on the book though, because depending on the book. There's sometimes where like when was it? Oh, it was a Lily Archer one that you were doing. I driving to work. I'm listening, and it's getting to that part where it's getting a little more steamy, and I'm like, well, that's it. Can't listen to it at work for the rest of the day.
All your colleagues know because you're blushing that you're listening to some sexy time.
Yeah, no, it's one of those where I'm like not very productive. It's happened though where I've busted out laughing in some of the rom-coms or a scene or something, and they're like, "Are you listening to one of your books?" I'm like,
Busted.
Busted. I'm like, as long as they don't really care. The good news is as long as I'm productive, but it's a little weird.
Exactly.
Yeah. It is a little weird to bust out laughing on your own. I'm like, I swear I'm listening to an audiobook. It's not in my imaginary friends.
Well, I wouldn't want to listen to sexy time at work for sure. If I worked in an office with other people, that would just seem the right environment to sort of get into that.
Correct. Yeah, totally. So that's why I'm like, no, y'all gotta wait until I get back in the car.
Jim and Bob walking by, it's like, maybe not.
No, because that's also when my biggest thing is the horror stories when, something gets pulled and the mic, the earbuds come off and then it's loud for everybody to listen to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would not want to do
Well,
that.
someone said that on Twitter that I think that their speaker or their phone was connected to the speaker, which was in the other room, and then they started to play some romance stuff, and then it blared out in their family in the other room, and I think it was a particularly saucy moment. So interesting. Anyway, on that note, kids, just be careful where you listen to. This is a PSA.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, as always, I love chatting and talking to you. So thank you for taking the time.
Oh, pleasure. Yes. And we'll have another Shane East Meets coming up. I have to figure out who actually.
I'm on the same boat as
2020.
Yeah. So as far as who will be next. But we hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Audiobook Lovin Podcast. Please make sure to follow us on our social media platforms. Subscribe to the Viviana Enchantress of Books newsletter. Don't forget to submit your this or that questions for Shane to answer next time we connect. And until then, happy listening. Thank you for joining us on the Audiobook Lovin Podcast, hosted by Viviana Enchantress of Books. For links and more info about today's episode or the Audiobook Lovin Series, visit vivianaenchantressofbooks.com. Please consider leaving a review wherever you listen to the podcast if you enjoyed today's episode. Until next time, happy listening.